Every week of July 4th, my brother and I helped pack up my grandparents' Suburban and traveled from the little town of Red Cross to the Myrtle Beach Travel Park. It was less than a 3-hour drive, but to me it felt like an odyssey, the beginning of something magical. As soon as I woke up on the day we'd leave, I'd get ready and I would sit in the very back seat of the car. It was still hours before we were ready to go, but I knew it would somehow make time move a little faster waiting there inside the car instead of inside the house. Once we got on the road, I would sit in the back seat with my 90s CD player and stare out the window, headphones on, letting the hum of the highway mix with my favorite songs, my own little world in motion. Those songs became the soundtrack of my summers, forever tied to the memories that were made. I would stare out the window as rows and rows of tobacco rolled by in neat, endless lines. That's how I always knew we were getting close. The red clay soil slowly turned pale and sandy, like the earth itself was transforming, preparing me for the beach ahead. We never traveled alone. My grandparents' best friends and their family always joined us. Our little convoy of campers and cars felt like a parade, inching towards the same destination year after year, our own version of summer tradition. It felt like the start of something bigger than just a trip. When we arrived, Mamo and I would sit at the picnic table with the dog while Papa parked the camper and hooked up our utilities. It was their quiet choreography, practiced and patient. That steady routine meant we'd finally made it. Summer could officially begin. As soon as everything was unloaded, we would walk to the beach. Mama always told me to not get wet before supper, but somehow my feet always found the water. Rules didn't matter when the ocean was right there. The first splash of salt water on my ankles felt like coming home. Because we came the same week every year, we formed a family with the other campers who came year after year, like the Watermelon Man, who shared slices with the whole campground, and the Sandcastle Man, who built fortresses that reached to the sky. They were legends in our summer world. Each morning, our two families cooked a massive breakfast between the campers. 12 people, a couple of griddles, and a lot of laughter. Everyone had their designated jobs. Mine was to toast and butter the bread. The smell of bacon and toast still takes me right back there. On the beach, Papa would carry me out into the water and jump the waves with me in his arms. When the ocean calmed, he taught me to float over the waves, to trust the water, to let go, to just drift and breathe. I realize now that those lessons taught me how to find balance far beyond the shore. When we weren't in the water, we walked for miles looking for shark's teeth and seashells. The pier was our finish line. Every shell felt like a treasure, proof that the world still held surprises if you paid attention. Evenings meant card games between the campers, stories under string lights, and the sound of laughter fading into the ocean breeze. Some nights we wandered to the campground's little pavilion and listened to the other campers sing karaoke. Summer nights always seemed to be a favorite. The Myrtle Beach Pavilion was pure magic. Flashing lights, carnival rides, the smell of popcorn and saltwater taffy. I rode the carousel and other roller coasters every year, wishing the nights could last forever. The music and laughter spilled out onto the strip, blending with the crash of the waves. When it rained, we'd race to the arcade. One year, my brother and I mastered a game so well that we ran it out of tickets. We walked out holding one of everything from the prize store, champions of our tiny universe. Even the storm outside couldn't compete with the electric glow of that little victory. The 4th of July morning began with the golf cart parade. Carts draped in red, white, and blue rolled through the campground, tossing candy and honking horns. The air smelled like sunscreen and excitement, a small town celebration by the sea. That evening, we would grill hot dogs and hamburgers, and Mama would pass out chips and soda. The grown-ups laughed, the kids played, and time stretched just long enough to feel endless. Everything felt softer, slower, and perfectly complete as the sun dipped below the horizon. When darkness came, we sat outside with our Klondike bars, watching fireworks explode over the ocean. I thought the whole sky was ours, that the world paused just for our family. Each burst painted the water below like the night itself was celebrating with us. On the last morning, we always ate at the campground restaurant Breakfast by the Sea. Pancakes, orange juice, and the slow ache of goodbye. That breakfast always tasted a little different, sweet and warm, but with the quiet sadness of knowing our magical week had come to an end. The drive home felt quieter. The car still smelled like sunscreen and salt. I'd watch the ocean fade in the mirror until it disappeared, already counting down the days until we'd come back. Our skin was pink and sunburned, our tan lines uneven, proof we'd squeezed every ounce of summer out of that week. Now I see all the little things my grandparents did to make that week feel magical. The food, the laughter, the patience. The beach was just the backdrop. The real story was them. And that's a memory that still glows brighter than any firework.